Well, here we are getting close to Christmas. Time to remember the warmth of the nativity scene. So, you might be surprised by the reading. I was. In fact, I emailed Brian to make sure it was the right one. Jesus has just been baptized and received the affirmation of God that he is his beloved Son. And then Luke 4 verses 1 to 2 says, Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, left the Jordan and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, where for 40 days he was tempted by the devil. He ate nothing during those days, and at the end of them he was hungry. We're going into a time of celebration, so why are we talking about temptation and fasting? Well, firstly, I think that it reminds us that the incarnation, God taking on human flesh, was deep and real, no holds barred. Jesus didn't do a human life light version. He went into the deepest places of physical and mental pain, hunger, temptation and grief. I was in Israel last year and I visited the arid region where Jesus' temptation probably took place. It was blisteringly hot even in October, bleak and austere with little life or comfort. Spending 40 days and nights there alone without food would have been utterly isolating and exhausting. On top of that, Jesus wrestled with Satan, who exerted all his cunning to try to divert Jesus from God's plan, offering Jesus success without sacrifice. So let's remember the incarnation wasn't just to the vulnerability of babyhood, but also to the darkest places of human struggle. Secondly, Jesus' battle against temptation reminds us that tough times don't necessarily mean that we're off course. It says, full of the Holy Spirit, he was led by the Spirit into the wilderness. It was a tough time, but not outside of God's plan. So when tough times come, as they surely will, even over Christmas, don't be tempted to think that it's because you're outside of God's purposes. Some of us find Christmas deeply challenging. There's no cosy glow, but loneliness, sad memories, disappointed hopes. We can imagine that everyone else is living in a John Lewis Christmas advert idyll, and we alone are shut out. If you encounter that painful isolation, remember that the Jesus who spent 40 days and nights alone in the harshness of the desert is right there walking with you. Some of us will sail through Christmas but feel bleak in the new year. The celebration ends, people disappear, the grind of normal life with its battles returns with the cold and dark of January. When you feel like that, remember that the Jesus who had every darkness and doubt thrown at him in the desert is right there walking with you. I pray that however this Christmas season is for you, that you will know the presence of Emmanuel, God with us.